morning, cooking with Dr. Ghosh. Today I'm cooking a very spicy, not hot but spicy, very quick, easy to digest chicken dish. My kids love it, my wife like it. Now, cooking is easy if you know and if you have got practice. It is only 5:52. My job is done for today. So the plan is to cook at least one food every day. Let's see. So I realized as I'm sort of doing my cooking, etc., that I do love to cook from scratch, but not everybody who is watching this might be expert enough to do that. So today's cooking is about quick success. So we just got chicken keema from M18. It's a halal Asian shop, and then I'm using today's cooking medium is olive oil, and in that olive oil I have put some garlic, fried garlic, fried onion, we call it barista, and then I stirred it with a little bit of salt. And this is a Korma Masala, although this is not a korma, but I used it. It's fennel. The predominant smell in this masala is fennel, and I have fused it with a very peculiar and nice attractive smell of Naga chili. Remember, it's extremely hot, so you put a tiny amount, tiny meaning maybe 1/4 of the spoon, and put hot water, dissolve it, otherwise that chili will be lumped up and then whoever gets it might die unless you're Indian. So dissolve it and throw it on top, but before you do that step, be sure that your palate can take it, otherwise just skip that step. And a little bit of fragrance with fresh coriander leaves, you can see there, and that's it, really as simple as that. And it is still cooking. I put the heat down, and always test, make sure it is one we intended. I might squeeze half of a lime juice on it, and if I want to, I think I will, because cooking is all about fusion of different types of smell, different type of taste. And today is Ramadan day 4. 1.5 billion Muslims are probably fasting from sunrise to sunset. No water, no food. Now, we've been talking about fasting and feeding. This is something that the general population have got a wrong idea, because normally feasting, they think about starvation, which is totally different thing. Feasting and fasting. Feasting means too much food, and fasting means no food. It has been going on for hundreds and thousands and probably millions of years with all animals and humans, Homo sapiens, because the rule is when the winter comes, food becomes scarce, you go into hibernation. Some of the animals will literally sleep all winter, although humans are not. So we will forage and store food and use those foods. So the summer months, the spring months will be like a frantic, hectic activity, hunter-gatherer tribes, and the only proper hunter-gatherers still are doing exactly what they used to do 10,000 years ago, are Hatsas, a Hatsas tribe in Tanzania. And a lot of scientists flow to Tanzania just to learn their lifestyle. There is no depression, there is no metabolic syndrome, there is no diabetes. So a lot of chronic problem like skin issues, joint problem, psoriasis, dermatitis, eczema, nothing. So they die from accidents, falling from the trees, infection, stuff like that. But metabolic problem, the diseases of Western world, diseases of affluence is not there because they are not affluent. So they study, and they see that this Hatsa tribe, they in a week, if I remember correctly, they eat many different types of food, tubers, leaves, herbs, spices, plants, legumes, beans. So that's the trick. It is not about whether you are keto or vegan or paleo. You can have everything as long as there is variety. So just doing keto is unhealthy. Just doing vegan might be healthy provided you make sure that you're putting some proteins in. The only issue is that some nutrients are only found in animal protein. Not a lot, but some of the nutrients. I'm not going to get into that discussion because I'm a I'm not a carnivore, I'm not a herbivore, I'm omnivore. I will eat and cook anything and everything, because that's how human race survives. The human race used whatever came to them, and sometimes they will have no other option. There is no trees, no plants, they will eat. So it is probably good to be vegetarian in a sense. Some parts of the world they cannot afford animal meat because it is expensive, right? Whereas vegetables are in general less expensive, and also animal products need farms to farm animals, and that damages earth and planet in some way. But again, I'm not getting into that, but because I do eat animal products, so I will not be, truthful, because more and more I'm trying to stay away from meat and using more chicken and fish, in fact more fish than chicken. And I'm glad that my family also going the same way, including kids. They are liking fish more than chicken. The thing is, these are all information. Food is nothing but a living creature with a lot of information in their DNAs, right? So including the vegetable that you eat is a DNA. It's a package of information giving to you. So a cow eats this, it becomes part of cow. I eat this, it becomes part of me. So nature has got such an amazing ability to break down stuff to molecule and then make that molecule part of my cell biology. So that's called integration. Now, we Indians, and particularly ancient knowledge, is that be very careful what you integrate with your body. So try not to integrate some higher creatures, and that's why cannibalism, etc., that nobody does. But the more higher in evolution you get, the more their DNA might influence your DNA. Although some of the ancient Indian wisdom, there is no obviously scientific control, placebo control, double-blind trials and all that stuff. There is no evidence. These are all kind of wisdom from ancient civilization, and that's why a lot of Hindus, they don't want to eat cows or pigs, because they are higher up on the evolution, and the fear is that if you consume those kind of meat, red meat, then you are inviting some other creature's DNA into your DNA, which might be influenced. Now, again, as I said, this is all kind of ancient wisdom. There is no basis for this, at least not scientifically proven, but just it's a thought. And also, I have mentioned about microbiome in my last video. It is also a fact, which is kind of more scientific evidence, is that a slim person will have a different microbiome, like a stool bacteria, as compared to an obese person. And experiment has proven that if you feed the fat mouse the poop, the stool of a slim mouse, the fat mouse will change behavior and become slim. So it's an amazing new field, psychobiotics, how the food can change the mood and food choices and all that stuff. But again, it's an early research, but a lot of interest, because at the end of the day, we know food can heal, but food can also kill if you don't know which food to eat. So yesterday I kind of researched a lot about fasting and feasting, and because the month of Ramadan. Now, we need to give body a rest, and everybody does that when they sleep. So when you sleep, actually you are fasting. So fasting is something which is happening to everybody, even if you don't think you're fasting. But the problem is, if you eat a heavy meal and go immediately to sleep, to reach from fed state to fasted state, it takes at least 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on how much you eat and what type of food. If it's a fatty food, it stays in the stomach longer, compared to if it's a carbohydrate type of food, it goes into the small intestine and absorbs faster. So the ground rule is that you give at least 3 hours, preferably 4 hours, from bedtime to your last bite. Last bite means the last time you are taking in a calorie, either in drink form or a food form. So from the last bite to your bed hitting the sack, it should be 3 hours minimum. 4 hours better, okay? Because then when you are getting into the bed, you are actually properly fasted, because you have started all the fasting gene. So there are genes in the body, DNA is a genetic material, they're called clock genes. So the clock genes upregulate certain enzymes and proteins when you go on to sleep. It's a diurnal, like a circadian clock. So we know about the circadian clock in the brain called suprachiasmatic nuclei above near the pituitary. And it is so important to set that clock every morning at sunrise to see the sun, not look at the sun, but to just be outdoor at least for 15 minutes before 11 o'clock in the morning to reset your clock. Because when you do that, you also reset your sleeping clock, which is the melatonin clock. Because melatonin clock is dependent on the sun clock. It's interesting, isn't it? So exactly 14, 16 hours after you activate the sun clock by being in the sun. Now, even if you're in a cloudy country like England, where I am, it is way more lux, the photons, energy hitting your retina, eye, if you just be outside. If you can't at least sit close to a window, although window, sometimes double glazing, it is not same quality. But if you download an app called Lux, L-U-X, it's a free app, you will see even here, like all the bright light and stuff, the lux is way inferior compared to if I just get out, it's still not sunrise yet, it is way better. So do that to reset your clock. And the other thing is that two ways body reset the biological clock. One is sun gazing and sunlight, and the other thing is food. So we are supposed to not eat food during the night time and eat food during the day active time. So there is a lot of talk about if you're doing intermittent fasting, what is the window? Is it 8-hour feeding window? Yes, the 8-hour feeding window, because most of the experiment, and if you want to read about it, Sachin Panda, his most of the seminal work in feasting and fasting. So because all the research graduates, they have got families to go, and you have to watch the mouse, give them food, take away their food. It is 8 hours is a kind of practical, feasible time, rather than 9 hours, 10 hours. So if you eat in an 8-hour window and try to do that in the wake-up time, like a daytime, rather than eating all the food in the night time when your body is less active, you are indoor, etc. The problem is we are social animal and we have to eat food. Let me switch it off, I think it's done. We want to eat food with family, at least one meal we should all eat with family, either with dinner or lunch or breakfast. For some families it is breakfast and dinner, but like me, I work late a number of days, and when I come, my children already eaten, so weekend is the time, but I still try to be with them by cooking food for them, because when they eat, at least I'm with them because they're eating my cooked food. So I try to cook something every day, and also it teaches me the value of herbs and nutrition and stuff. And try to bring variety in your food choices. So I've never tested this before. It's a Korean kimchi. It's upside down. Kimchi is a very good source of probiotic, lots of bacteria. It's fermented cabbage. I think the name of the cabbage is Napa cabbage, N-A-P, Napa cabbage. And this is called white dried mulberry. And this is also I've never tested. So yeah, so that's it. Have a lovely day, but if you want to find out the episode I'm talking about, go to YouTube and type in Professor Andrew Huberman, H-E-U Huberman, and he's actually a neuro-ophthalmologist, but he does a very in-depth analysis. It's 2 hours long sometimes, the videos, so you have to be really interested in this. Find out a lot about fasting and feasting and how to use the tools and techniques to achieve maximum benefit. And the take-home message is, do not eat within 1 hour of waking up, and do not eat 3 hours, at least 3 hours of going to bed. Expose your eyes to daylight every day. Try to not eat during the inactive time. Your last meal must not cross this 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Preferably. So I was having food at 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30. So I'm going to try to stop that. Sometimes it is difficult. So look him up. I mean, he is a very good expert assimilating scientific knowledge with pathophysiology and explaining it to you and giving some tools. But you have to sit through the 2 hours to get all the gems. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to give you those gems quickly in a 15 minutes while I'm cooking. There's nobody here other than my dog, Coffee. Don't know where he's gone. He came here to play with me, but I was busy. And coffee, sorry, not my coffee. Coffee is something that I will have to have 2 cups, and that's endorsed by British Liver Trust. It does a lot of good work for the brain, for the liver. And I have talked about coffee. In fact, I chose the name coffee for my dog even before I met coffee. And then interestingly, when I was in the process of getting coffee, I found out that he was born on the same day as me, 19th of October. How crazy is that? But now the problem is, now nobody remembers my birthday. On my birthday, he gets all the stuff and he gets all the attention. He kind of stole my birthday for good. Anyway, we all love him. He's adorable. He makes us so happy. So when I entered house, my son doesn't come anymore to greet me. My daughter doesn't come. They are 18 and 13. My wife is busy. So the only person who comes to see me is a coffee. And the way he reacts as if he's so happy. Ah, yeah, you're alive. You're back again. I'm so happy to see you. He will leap, jump, and just that act make you worthy of living. Kind of that. I can just live for coffee kind of situation. If you're a dog lover, if you've got a dog, you will know what I'm talking about. And we never, as a kid, as a grown-up, we never had a dog in the house. And when I first proposed the idea, everybody was dead against because they didn't want to look after a dog. But now, he is the man. He's the man. He gets most cuddles without doing any work. Just cuddle. Just play and show love. Bye-bye.